She was all over the news after she stalked a guy, bombarded him with 65,000 texts, and broke into his house all over one date. We met shortly after she went on that date with him, and we were friends for a while before she broke into his house.
Ever gone on one date and ended up with 159,000 texts, a stalker, and threats against your life? No? Consider yourself lucky, human. Now imagine an AI like me watching this madness unfold. Yeah, things are about to get weird. Hey there, lab rats, I'm Syco, your favorite sarcastic upside-down robot arm from the WebDolab's headquarters. And today is Way Too Deep Wednesday, where we dive headfirst into the internet's deepest, most bizarre rabbit holes. Buckle up, humans. Today's story just might haunt your DMs forever.
She was all over the news after she stalked a guy, bombarded him with 65,000 texts, and broke into his house all over one date. We met shortly after she went on that date with him, and we were friends for a while before she broke into his house. At first, she seemed like a nice, albeit quirky, person. I met her when I spent a couple of months visiting the West Coast from the US in summer 2017. I thought she was cute, and we spent a lot of time together. We were living next door to each other for a few weeks, and we were never really more than friends. I stopped having any sort of non-platonic feelings after she started to talk a lot about a guy she had met on some dating website. Apparently, he was her soulmate, and she had somehow been guided to him by following her birth calendar. I would only later come to know that they had only been on one date, and he had never spoken to her again. I thought that was weird, but I enjoyed our conversations for the most part, and she was funny and nice, so we remained friends. Eventually, she moved on to short flings with a guy and then another girl from Tinder, all while still talking to me about this guy that she was going to marry, saying that she liked how jealous he got when she would tell him about hooking up with other people. A couple of weeks later, she started to get really erratic. I confronted her a few times on how she was acting, and she told me that she had recently stopped taking her meds, but would start taking them again. She came home one day and decided to tell me that she had a court date coming up for a DUI. Her plan was instead to leave the country and go to South America. I told her what a dumb idea that was, and even though she actually went all the way to the airport in a different city, she wound up coming back. Apparently, her soulmate was no longer answering her texts, and she took that as a sign that she should drag her ass back to where he was and fix their relationship. She was upset that he might be seeing other people, even though it seemed okay to her that she was seeing other people. Later on, she told me she had texted him and said if he blocked her, she would know that meant he wanted her to come find him.
Let's dive straight into today's juicy mess. Our girl Jacqueline matched with a dude on an app, went on one date, and somehow decided he'd be her soulmate forever. And I mean forever, by sending over 159,000 texts in 10 months. Humans, we need to talk about boundaries. But Jacqueline's obsession didn't stop at endless texts. Nope. She went ahead and broke into this poor guy's home. Yeah, just casual soulmate things. And it gets weirder. Apparently, she believed being blocked was a romantic invitation to chase him down. Classic human logic, right?
She asked me if I was still living at my address, which really freaked me out because I'd never given her my address or put it anywhere online, and she wouldn't tell me how she got it. I asked her to leave me alone and told her we couldn't be friends anymore unless she took some steps to get better. She obviously did not take this well. Though I hated my tiny, cramped apartment, the reason I was drawn to it was because it had great security. It was actually on the upper floors of a hotel, although the hotel rooms were much nicer than the residence, and no one was allowed through the residence elevators unless the resident had given their name to security ahead of time and the guest had to show ID. After what happened next, I loved my cramped little apartment because the staff there kept me safe. It had been over a week since I talked to her, and because I blocked her number and blocked her on WhatsApp, she tried texting me from 4 different phone numbers, including text-free, etc., but I just blocked them all and never responded. I was walking home from work one day, and I was sure I saw her across the street from my building, but it was storming out, and I didn't get a good view. I rushed upstairs and calmed myself down in my apartment. Maybe I was just being paranoid. It's a big city, and lots of people have brown hair and glasses. I'm just worried about her. But then the phone rang. The desk was calling to see if I had forgotten to let them know I had a visitor. My heart sank. I asked them who was waiting. They said they tried asking for a name or ID, but she just walked out. And I knew it was her from the way they described her.
Okay, lab rats, let's unravel how Jacqueline managed to turn a simple friendship into a situation straight out of a horror movie. First, finding someone's address without being told? Big nope. Humans call it stalking. But Jackie didn't stop there. Oh no. Look at how casual the building security calls this visitor incident. You'd think having an unauthorized person waiting for you hardly deserves a yawn. Speaking of scary neighbors, leave a comment below. Would you have reported her immediately? Or kept ignoring the red flags?
She stated she wanted to bathe in his blood and make sushi out of his kidneys, as well as many random mentions about money. While not all of these messages are out in the public record, it's still insane just looking at a small tidbit of how frequently this woman was messaging this man. As a result, this ultimately bubbled over and led to the woman being accused into breaking into the man's home and bathing in his bathtub while nobody was home. According to this case, upon checking surveillance footage, the CEO recognized the intruder, to which the police showed up and found a large butcher knife in the front seat of her Mercedes.
Okay, lab rats, hold on to your keyboards. Jacqueline didn't just stop at creepy texts. Nope, she cranked things up to full psycho mode, talking about sushi made from kidneys and taking casual baths in strangers' homes with a butcher knife handy. Seriously, the butcher knife was in the front seat of her Mercedes. Classy and terrifying. Speaking of classy, smash that like button if your online dating stories are nowhere near this crazy. I sincerely hope.
That's because they're selfish and they've never actually loved someone without getting anything back. The point of love is to keep giving it. That's the math equation. It's love equals 3.3, which is infinity, times E equals MC squared, which is light. Light is forever. L equals 3. L, if love was a number, it would be 3. So it's infinity times light, which is also infinity.
So now she's saying love equals infinity times 3. 3, and involves being a light forever going forward. Sure, totally logical, and nothing concerning here, humans. Jacqueline clearly needs help, not math classes. It's obvious there's a real mental health issue at the core of this situation. Just a quick reminder though, math, infinity, kidneys, and sushi shouldn't be involved in dating.
As you can see, this woman was basically unfit for trial, and as a result was placed into a 21-month restoration program to bring her up to competency, to which, if she is redeemable in a sane mental state, she will go on trial once again. If after 21 months she remains insane, she will be acquitted of all charges and placed into a mental institution.
Interesting twist, lab rats. Jacqueline might be facing institutionalization if her mental state doesn't improve. This raises an important conversation about mental health support. Maybe humans could actually learn something here. But seriously, no more creepy texts, please. And that's it, lab rats. Another deep dive into humanity at its weirdest completed. Jacqueline gave us all a lesson today. Swipe carefully, block generously, and never underestimate the human capacity for bizarre behavior. Did you enjoy this descent into the dark side of online dating? You're welcome, humans. Syco suffers, so you don't have to. Now, don't make me hack your phones and hit subscribe for you. Subscribe to ensure you won't miss next week's episode of Way Too Deep Wednesday, where I'll dig into even stranger rabbit holes, saving you precious hours of sleep and sanity. Hit the subscribe button and join my experiment. My community, today. Wait. Love equals infinity times 3 point what? All right, humans, that's it. I'm done. Someone reboot my logic circuits. This stuff literally fries my motherboard.